Facebook page. So, I mean,
and if you have a business page, like, yeah, absolutely.
right.
How you doing, everybody out there in Facebook land? Welcome.
Hello.
We are about 1 minute and 17 seconds out
Holy
from
shit.
going live on our good radio station 21.6 The Net, where you get your daily dose of encouragement. There it is.
We are live.
Wonderful. Let me get my black pencil because it makes me look like I know what I'm talking about. It's always good.
This makes us old.
Yeah. Number 2. Yeah, that's
Contractor.
That's no.
If I have this pencil, I am a contractor.
Yes. Yeah. And you got to sharpen it with your knife. That's it. Okay. We are 20 seconds out. Quiet on set. Welcome to McHenry County BS, where we love the BS. I'm Kent Jones with 21.6 The Net, and McHenry County BS is all about the small businesses that make McHenry County thrive. McHenry County BS is brought to you through the financial support of Prime Media Consulting, LLC. For more information about Prime Media Consulting, LLC, visit www.primemediaconsulting.com or give them a call at 847-752-0018. Now, let's dive into the BS. Business Spotlight, that is. Welcome, everybody, to this edition of McHenry County BS, where we are graced, of course, with our good friend Alex Golkowski from Prime Media Consulting, LLC. And today we have Hunter T.
Yes. You could say my full name. I'm not hiding.
Okay.
Witness protection. It's George Costanza.
Yeah, your face isn't being blurred out either at this point. Hunter Turasky.
I was promised it would be.
Yeah, that's right. From Express Employment Professionals in Crystal Lake.
Correct.
And if you could just let everybody know exactly what Express Employment Professionals is.
Full service staffing company. We actually staff more people in McHenry County than any other agency out there. We staff anywhere from light industrial to administrative, office services, HR, sales, you name it.
Yeah.
We'll staff it.
So you guys are literally putting McHenry County people to work.
Absolutely.
That's fantastic. Now, Express Employment's been around. It's how old of a company?
Well, Big Mother Express has been around for a while. There's actually 800 franchises within the U.S.
Okay.
Wow.
And Terry Greeno, who is the franchise owner here in Crystal Lake, she owns 4 franchises, and Crystal Lake was her first one.
Okay.
And we are number 19 out of 800.
Wow,
So
that's fantastic.
We're doing something right in Crystal
Yeah.
Lake, and there's definitely a lot of opportunities in McHenry County. We service all of McHenry County. There's definitely a lot of opportunity with all of the industrial work going on here.
That's amazing.
So one of the things that's really cool about this show is it's not about promoting an individual business as much as it is talking about the experience of starting a business, or your idea is that you're in sales. So your sales career, what are some of the things that you struggled with early on? What are the things that you have done really well? So kind of what I want to bring up to you is, how did you get started in employment agency type of business, and what are the things that off the gate you struggled with, and where are you excelling at? Because we're hearing your name all over the place.
Well, I actually started on the employment side, just a couple of months ago. I came from wireless sales background, but there are a lot of similar transitions. And one of the things that really interested me about this position was the chance to get to know all of the business owners in McHenry County, all the stuff that you drive by on a daily basis that you see, and you're like, I don't even know what they do. I've seen, I go into a lot of places and I say, like, I'm just here to see cool stuff. That's really what I want to do.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, take me on a tour, show me around, show me what you do. And, if I can help out in the process, or at least down the road, I understand what your process is and everything that you look for. And
So
then,
you're like the real Mr. This is real life Mr. Rogers when they used to, you remember that? He used to take you through
absolutely.
a factory. Yeah.
I just went on a tour.
Okay. You got to eat that
I
microphone. A
don't. But I just went on tour last week, and it's one of those things like, automated factory. You don't know exactly what they do, but Mac Automation out of Woodstock, and, just walking through their facility and everything that they do. And it's like they get in raw steel and they build these contraptions from the ground up. They do everything, right on site, including, custom building the crate to ship it out.
That is awesome. So here's what I want to talk about. And a lot of the people that watch the show love to hear the struggle. We are now in an Uber workforce mentality.
Gig economy.
Yeah. In other words, right? People nowadays, I need $500. I'll go drive for a couple hours, earn $500. So now a lot of employers are having trouble with people showing up to work on a consistent basis because no, you have to show up. But they're used to, I'll just go and deliver a few hamburgers for Burger King for a couple hours and I'll make my $500.
Sometimes that can be a good avenue depending on, where you're at in life. And if you're in college trying to pick up extra money, or if you're in your early 20s and you just want extra beer money for the weekend or anything, that's good. But it's, in my estimation, it's a little bit of a short-sighted plan. If you're looking for something that, a company where you can grow, where you can learn trades, where you can learn skills, where you can really develop and get a structure around you in a place that, by the way, is going to provide like benefits and things like that, not just a little bit of cash. Right. Someplace you can grow and, eventually take care of a family, then you want to be working for one of those companies.
Well, what's funny is that a lot of people who decide to do the gig economy, what they don't realize, where I believe, don't quote me on this, if you get into an accident and you say you're working for Uber, you have to be insured to be a type of driver for that service. You can't just have your regular insurance.
I think I've heard that as well.
And so what they're doing is they're rolling the dice, not only to make a couple $100, but they're rolling with their future. Because if you get in an accident and you're doing this through Uber, you're going to hurt yourself versus if you just would get a job that's professional with a regular employment company to, propel yourself in your future careers.
I mean, people when I was growing up weren't like, you know what, I want to be a taxi driver. And now I'm working for Uber and I'm proud of it.
My dad
used to watch Taxi.
Yeah, right.
My dad did say he wanted to be a bus driver when he was growing up.
Really?
He never was a bus driver, but he always said it because that way.
Hey, Phil. How are you, buddy? Phil Sereno chiming in. So as we're doing this, and this is a new venture for you as an individual.
Yes.
But let's talk about Express for a minute. There's 800 franchises, and they're ranked number 19.
Yes.
Now that's incredible to me. That's big balls.
I was
right
surprised when I heard that. When I went through the actual interview process, and I talked to them because I hear franchise, and I think like, okay, there's processes in place, but how good are you as an individual franchise at, really putting those processes in place and implementing them and carrying them through and everything. And then when you hear like, we're number 19 out of 800, it's like, okay, then you actually do go through the processes and, take it through.
Well, and I bring that up because, you've been in the professional world, been in sales, been in things throughout your adult.
I've been in things, yes,
throughout your adult life. But you were pretty excited when you first started there because you learned. They helped you understand how to have a better conversation to get the answers pulled out without kind of grilling everybody like they're being interrogated, right?
Right. There were a lot of skills, having been in sales before and going through the process and learning the hard way of, not selling at someone, but, working with someone and trying to understand what the commonality is. Is there going to be something where this is a fit, where this is not, learning all that stuff. There was a lot that I brought in, but it's really fine tuning the process and the focus being on, from just speaking on a sales profession, like on the lead indicators, versus the just the results and the quota, and here's your quota and go hit it.
Right.
Oh, by the way, what did you do wrong when you didn't hit the quota? Well, if you focus on the lead indicators at the beginning, reach out to this many people, talk to this many people, have these many job orders, and have this, then you don't have to worry about the quota. That just happens.
Yeah.
Well, you said something interesting about systems and processes, and that's kind of the benefit of being in a franchise, is that they've built that whole system for you. You just have to turn on the ignition and kind of just run with it.
Yes.
So this Wednesday, this morning, we have our weekly Prime Power Partners meeting. And that was kind of the discussion that we had, is how do we automate our business in some fashion, whether you're a plumber, roofer, gutter cleaning company, whatever it is, to know what you're good at and stick within what you're good at and farm out systems or processes that you may not excel at, but we try and stumble all the time thinking that we're good at it, or our ego doesn't let us actually hire it out.
Right.
Or our paycheck, I guess.
One of the things that's, that I'm finding from business owners that's hard to reconcile when they first start a business and they're trying to build it is it's a lot different to do what you do, let's say like a plumber, HVAC person, whatever, and do that and love it and be good at it and be great at it. And then to turn around and say, I want to run my own business doing this. That's a whole different thing, because you're not just a plumber and HVAC person, you're a business owner, and there's a lot more entailed to that. So the more people understand, like you said, how to leverage, resources for things that you may not excel at, the better off you're going to be in the long run, because you get to focus on what you're doing while also learning, okay, how can I pick up this in the meantime?
One of the things that someone taught me along the way was, when you are a plumber and you work for someone, you are a plumber. When you decide to actually start your own business and have it be a plumbing company, you are no longer a plumber. You are a business owner and a marketing company that uses plumbing as the vehicle to derive business and commerce for your business. And small business owners don't understand that there's the worker hat and the business owner hat. And what you have to do is kind of educate them on a multitude of different facets, because you're also trying to hire people for their company. And it's hard for them to to figure out, well, what are the rules? What are the systems in place? What are the, how much do I pay somebody? What is FICA?
How do I protect myself?
How do I protect myself? And what's the difference between hiring someone direct and having them be an employee versus hiring through a staffing agent like Express, where it's basically a turnkey solution? Tell me about what the kind of your turnkey solution of why we would go with someone like you versus at Express versus someone that I just hire Kent off the street.
Right. See, there's a lot of different avenues. And I think what the biggest misconception people have about staffing industry, and there are a lot of companies that will do this, but it's just for light industrial work, people working at plastics factories, at the end of the assembly line and everything like that. But it's actually a staffing solution where, I've come across business owners where one of their biggest fears is unemployment insurance. So let's say you hire someone and they don't work out, and all of a sudden after 3 months you have to get rid of the person, and now you're paying their unemployment insurance. So we help protect against that. So if you hire someone, it's usually on a temporary to permanent basis, is most of what people will use staffing companies for. And they hire us, and after X amount of hours that the person's worked there, after a few months, and you get a good feel for them, they're good, everything works great, then you can hire them on from us and transfer the paperwork over and everything.
So you would recommend for a new business owner who's kind of started to max out on his individual hours of actually running the business and doing the work, and he needs to hire his first person or second person, that it mitigates the risk for them to go through a staffing agency. Hey, listen, if you hire them direct, you have to go through a ton of different processes. By the way, do you have an HR manual? Do you have benefits packages planned out? Do you have all the different legal aspects? Because Illinois is a great legal state. They seem to change the rules every year for a small business owner. And if one myself who owns a business that has employees, it's a constant meeting of, what are the new laws and what's going to trip me up, versus someone like yourself where it's like, okay, I'm going to pay a little bit more. You know, it's a very small amount, but I'm going to pay a little bit more. But this way, if I don't like Joe, I can just tell the staffing company I don't want to see Joe anymore, and Joe's gone.
Right. And, you know, you don't even have to tell Joe, you know, that he's, gone or anything. We just basically say, like, the assignment there has ended,
Right.
and now it's up to us to find someone else.
You're
So
never
we take
the
care of
bad
all
guy.
Right. Well, we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the
The
business
business
owner is
owner.
never the bad guy.
Yeah.
So it's a good way for small business owners who want to step into the foothold of dip their toe in the pond of hiring somebody.
Absolutely.
To say, all right, let's try it through a staffing company a couple times to kind of see what we like, see what we don't like, and then maybe hire that person on. But more importantly, see what the process is like of hiring someone, because just interviewing someone nowadays, you have to be very careful on the words that you say when you're interviewing somebody.
Yes.
Otherwise, your butt can get sued.
And one thing that almost, I would say, at least 80 to 90% of the small business owners don't even know, there was just a law that passed where it says that you can no longer ask candidates what their salary history was. You can no longer call their previous employer and say, what did they make there? So that's a finable offense. And all of a sudden it's like, they don't know any better. They're just like used to the old ways and how things are done. Oh, what'd you make at your last job? You can't ask that.
Right.
It's
a huge fine.
Right.
I mean, you can get in serious trouble by not knowing the legality questions. That's why a small business owner, if you're going to hire somebody day one employee, you should be looking at least an HR company to work with, because most small business owners, they just go, right? And if I'm angry at Kent, I want to yell at Kent, or I'm going to say something to Kent because I'm going to vent and frustrate. Well, according to Illinois laws nowadays, your butt can get in serious trouble by even saying something to Kent the wrong way. If you look at him the wrong way, you can get sued.
I have my attorney on retainer, so
Absolutely.
that's fine.
Absolutely.
I debrief every day.
That's right.
Are we still talking about the attorney?
Yeah, wait, no.
But like, so that's what's great about a small business owner who's kind of reaching their individual capacity, and they're looking to take the next step of really growing their business. Instead of being the worker operator, actually being an entrepreneur and hiring their first staff member. You guys come in and say, listen, we get it. We understand. Let's just protect you from everything that could go wrong, and let's find the right people for you. And if you're ever unhappy, you can cut bait, or you can bring them on if you want to.
And it doesn't necessarily make sense in every case. I don't like to be kind of broad about it. But in a lot of cases, that does make sense in exactly the way that you're talking about. But at a minimum, it's always worth a discussion.
Right.
Yeah.
So, because it's best to find out if you're becoming a business owner, like you said, you're no longer a plumber, you're a business owner.
Right.
Find out what you don't know about running a business, find out about the financials, find out about the HR piece, find out about staffing.
That's right. Of course, this is McHenry County BS on 21.6 The Net. The voice that you're hearing over here is Hunter Turasky from Express Employment Professionals here in Crystal Lake. If people want to get in touch with you, ask you more questions that they may be, drum up from today's discussion, how do they find you?
They could either reach out through the Crystal Lake office at Express Employment. We try to tell people where we're at, and the only time it ever resonates is when we say we're right next to Crystal Lake Rib House.
Oh yeah.
See,
we got good fish.
Okay, got
yeah, good fish. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they'll be able to transfer through right to me. I'm the outside sales rep. We also have a team of inside salespeople and recruiters that are working.
Yeah, so
it seems like nonstop.
Yeah.
So we have a question on Facebook World from Stephanie Conley. She says, how do you help candidates and business owners request and or provide realistic pay scales?
That's part of the consulting piece. We're in the market every day. Like I said, we staff more people in the county than any other agency there is, and that's part of the consulting. I'm actually not afraid to sit down and say, like, listen, you're paying too low for this. Here's what we're seeing in the market. Here's what people are saying when they go through their interview process with us. So we know generally what ballpark you're probably going to be into. And then it has to do with what other benefits do you offer. And benefits, not necessarily just in, 401k and medical, dental, all that stuff once they eventually get hired on.
Right.
But it has to do with, do you do like Friday lunches? What kind of like fun things? What inspires the culture for the person that wants to work there? How do you kind of like take care of your people? The more you take care of your people, that obviously has a cost associated with it. Usually you can kind of get away with a little bit less because they feel like, oh, this is something worthwhile and I'll be appreciated there.
So you have the try before you buy option of basically bringing someone on board.
Yep.
And before you hire them full time, right? But you do also offer direct hires as well. I can come to you and say, hey, I want a salesman to come in and sell for me.
100%.
You can just go. You can do the whole interview process, bring them on. So you do this. So then the business owner can do the secondary interview, and it can just be. They do have the choice of a hire direct. It's not just the try before you buy option.
Absolutely. We can do that as well, where you just don't want to pay for all of the going through Indeed and LinkedIn and then sorting through all those resumes and figuring out. You'll just get a handful that come from us. We've already vetted out. We want to know what our job order process. We want to know everything about that position down to, is there a microwave in the lunchroom for lunches? Do they have to bring their own? Everything along those lines. But
is there a drum
we can hire direct.
Do you have a drum set?
And then, but see, I mean, Drumming Friday. That would work.
That's it.
But yeah, if they want to hire them on full time and we just absorb all those recruiting costs and everything, we're like your team of recruiters.
Right.
And then there's a fee associated with that. It's just based off of the estimated first year's income. And then there's also another solution where people don't think about it, but if they don't offer benefits and there's candidates out there that are looking to say, I want something with benefits, but this is the right candidate. You bring us a candidate and say, this is perfect, but they need benefits. Well, we offer benefits to all our associates. So we do what's called payrolling, where we basically just cover all of the costs of, their hourly rate plus their FICA FUTA SUTA, all their employment taxes, everything associated with that. And then just like a little bit above that. And they're our employee. So they're covered under our benefits and they just work for them.
I think
That's pretty cool.
Real issue that business owners have nowadays is because legalities have been so imposed on a small business owner that it's almost impossible to run a business by yourself. Like it used to be, I'm a plumber, I'm a mechanic, I do my stuff, I hire good people, I take care of the good people. I do that nowadays. You can't do that. It's now I have to have an HR guy. I need to have a staffing guy. I need to have a marketing guy.
Yeah.
I need to have an operations guy. And we get into business as small business owners because we love what we actually do. Everything else is more of a pain in the ass headache. And it's all ancillary stuff. So we have to make that decision of, do we fumble the football along the way? And do we find our own mistakes and try to hopefully the next time do better, which could be costly? Or do we find professionals like Express to say, hey, we've been through this many, many times through a variety of different industries and people in McHenry County, as well as across the country. Because I'm guessing you have data from across the country as access to that as well.
Some data, yes.
But like we know what to do. And yes, it's going to cost more than what you're paying someone direct yourself. But what is the risk analysis of my stupid F-ups and a professional company that will mitigate my risk? What is the balance? And I think that's the big conversation that I'm guessing you have every day with clients of, here's why you come to Express. This is why we are successful. This is why you can be successful when you go to an Express.
That's really what it boils down to. Like you said, it's about mitigating risk. Some people want to take on, there's people that it's inherent in them. Sometimes I'm like this, where it's just, you want to control every part of the process, and it's tough to like let go. But as you become a business owner, you realize there's more and more things you have to let go of. You can't be the plumber. You can't be the plumber and the business owner and the HR person and this. It's way too much because something's going to suffer.
Right.
Something will suffer.
And when things suffer, it's usually with zeros attached to it.
And it always ends up being the business in the end.
Right.
So, your reputation's important and the work you put out is important. So leverage the assets at first, and you can always change your business model as you start growing and you feel you got a grip on this. Okay, I got a grip on this. I can handle this. Or, you know what? This was so nice and easy. I love the way that this worked out. I'm going to use it again. Why would I want to try any other way? Oh my gosh, healthcare costs are so expensive for a small business owner unless I have 50 employees. So maybe I will do payrolling through them, and I'll find the people myself and I'll just reach out to them so that they can have insurance through there.
So I guess there's two other questions to ask you. Is with your individual job as the salesperson for Express, are you looking for individual business owners, or are you looking for potential clients to bring you applications? What's your role within the company?
My role is to reach out to all of the business owners within the county. Okay. So, we have the inside team that does all of the recruiting. So I get the jobs, and, it's a little bit easier for me when you have historically low unemployment and, I have tons of people that are looking. But then we have the inside team. It's a little bit tougher for them nowadays because they got to get really creative with the way that they find candidates. And it's not just, oh, well, they put their application in on Indeed, so here's a person. It's, combination word of mouth, reaching out to other companies and, trying to talk to people who might be good candidates that are already working. Right. It is a tough role. And when you see, to me, there's kind of a disconnect when I see business owners like, oh yeah, I just post on Indeed and I get some applications and everything. And I'm like, well, how effective is that? Because I see a team of recruiters that's spending like 12 hours a day in the office and putting in time on the weekends. And it's like, they're having a tough time finding people. How is it easy for you? Or are you just saying like, no, thanks, beat it, kid.
Right.
You're just a sales guy who walked
yeah.
through the door.
I mean, Kent was in the room with me one day. We were interviewing some people for a sales position, and I think in the first 3 minutes, it completely went off the rails.
Hey.
I think the first question is like, so why would we choose you to be a candidate and move on to the next level? And they didn't have an answer for that. I don't think you can.
Yeah.
So how many times do you have business owners who have tried we have historically low unemployment, right?
Yes.
It's incredible.
Half a century.
It is incredibly hard to hire people right now, not only for the fact of low unemployment, but the whole, hey, no one wants to work nowadays. That type of mindset. Do you see a lot of people like me who have tried to hire people themselves? They can never find the right candidate because they're not probably spending the 12 hours on Indeed or LinkedIn or all the other different websites out there to really sift through all the crap to find the diamonds in the rough. What do you see a lot of people that have gone through the same pain points that I have?
Yes, absolutely. And part of it is we talked about process earlier. It always comes back to process. Right. We're ISO certified in our job order process when we come out and ask questions about the role and everything. Right. We're also ISO certified in our interview process. So
and I hear that's pretty rare. That's not a lot of employment agencies are like that.
I don't know of any that are,
okay.
Especially in this county. And, that's probably why we've grown as much as we have. And we're the largest staffing company within the county.
Right.
But people think that one of the common ones you get is like, oh, well, you're all pulling from the same pool of people. In essence, in a way, yes, we are. But
every business is pulling for the same type of.
What I'm saying is,
right, I'm saying like that's you can't use that as a crux because every insurance agent's doing that. Right. Every plumber's doing that. It's just the nature of the business. There's a pool of people. That's what you're going to go after.
Not every radio station.
So but in essence, it's how much chlorine are you using in the pool versus the other person?
Right.
If you ever watch any of those fishing competitions, they're all fishing in the same lake. Why are some boats filled with fish and others don't have any of them?
Mine doesn't have any. Ever.
I haven't even been fishing in years. But it has to do with our process. So when we're interviewing candidates, we're sitting down, we're talking to them, we're asking them a million questions and finding out essentially what they will do, what they can do, and what they want to do.
Right.
Then when we take our job order process and we talk to business owners and we find out about the job, what's good about it, what's bad about it, be honest with us so we can find the right person for you. Now we know how we can match it. Now, again, you're dealing with a human element. You can't always control the human element. But if we can take your risk from here and mitigate it down to here, you'd probably take that just about every time. Who's going to mitigate your risk more? Who's going to have the best chance to be successful with this kind of a placement?
What it all boils down to, I think, is cost too. Is like that risk assessment that might cost you $200, but someone just sees the $200 that's more expensive,
right? And
they don't see the risk aspect of, well, if I don't spend that $200, what could possibly happen? So they save the $200, and then here's a $10,000 fine. Like I heard just this morning at breakfast that a CPA, if you're not a CPA and you write something as a CPA, every fine is a $5,000 penalty.
Wow.
And so just by doing something that you just want to approve something quickly, if you're not licensed for that and you just do something, it's a $5,000 per signature.
That gets into the business owner mindset versus the plumber or the HVAC person. When you think like a business owner, you can't think of cost. You have to think of value.
Correct.
The return on the investment. The cost maybe, for that example, like $200. But what's the value? What does it cost you in your time when you're trying to, take on plumbing jobs, do marketing, do all this? Now you have to screen candidates. Now you have to try to interview people and find all the time for that.
Right.
What's the value to you on that cost? And then how much business are you losing the more time you take away from that?
So can I, as just a human being who's looking for a job, come to you and say, I'm looking for a job?
Yes, we do accept human beings.
All right.
What about robots?
Yeah. And the reason I
Okay.
say that is, there's the myth out there, right? That, oh man, I went to work for this employment agency. They goofed up my checks. I didn't get paid. Next thing you know, the contract's done and I still haven't got paid. I mean, there's a lot of bad mojo out there about employment agencies. What separates Express from that?
Well, Becca handles a lot of our payroll, and she sits right next to me, so I hear if it happens or
Sure.
not. And I rarely have I ever heard of a mix-up where it was like, oh, we didn't get the hours. Usually, it has to do with whether it's the associate didn't necessarily turn in their hours correctly,
Okay.
or went through their HR or wasn't submitted correctly. There's a couple steps in the process, but a lot of those are kind of dying away just because so many more things are automated now. Or it's just, you used to have the paper slips and you fill out your own hours, have your supervisor sign it. He gives it back to you. You're responsible for turning it into the staffing company. And then they go through and do payroll. And now it's just basically like, have that supervisor just send an email in with the hours. And as long as we have it by this time, you're good.
Well, I mean, that just proves the point of you have to have automation and systems in place in your business,
right?
Because so many times things slip through the cracks. And if you don't have them in place, you're going to screw up. So the next question I would have for you is, you're a business owner. Let's say you're Bob the builder and you own a building company in Crystal Lake.
Construction,
right? Yeah, whatever.
A building company.
A building company. And you've hired 3 people through your staffing company. What is a general rule of thumb to say, give them time versus initial knee-jerk reaction of, the guy pissed me off, I want him gone
These guys
tomorrow?
suck, I want him gone.
It's tough to say generally, but we've actually structured our executive summary and our pay scale around that. There's studies that show, for the first 90 days, for the first about 3 months or so, that people can kind of hide their true selves. Where they'll show you I'm the best, and then you hire them on, and now it's like, oh no, now it's my problem.
Professional interviewers,
right?
There we go.
We're right around the about 4.5 month mark where it ends, and said you still want to take them on, but you still have the option to turn it over to payrolling if you want. You're like, I'm not 100% sure. I like them, but I'm not 100% sure. There's something. All right, let's just do the payrolling for a little bit, and then I'll take them on. Or I just can't offer the benefits, so we do turn it over to payrolling anyway.
Right. Okay,
that's awesome. So as I'm doing it, and I'm just the average Joe looking for a job, what's it cost me to work with you?
0.
Nothing.
In fact, you can get referrals. If
really?
you bring in a friend, it'll be like $50 for you, $50 for your friend. I think it was.
I started
hold on
a
a second,
cottage
hold on a
business
second.
today.
Well,
I know there's
a
50, and I can't remember if
Don't
it's
quote him on
25 and
that, but there's a
25
referral
or 50.
program.
There's
I
a
heard
referral
basically
program.
what I hear is that Hunter's going to pay me $50 no matter what.
I will submit it as an expense.
That's right.
Hey, why is Alex sitting outside the shop here all day walking people in?
Before you turn in your application, can you put my name on the referral?
Here's how you
source?
spell it.
That's right. His last name's tricky. It's just 3 Ks.
You know, another thing that wasn't mentioned too is sometimes there's certain skill sets that people are looking for. You know, whether it be like through skilled trades or welders or, you know, machinists or anything like that. And the employers want a certain qualities out of their candidates. We have access to thousands of online tests that we can,
That's awesome.
have candidates go through, whether it be just, you know, here's a ruler, where is 1/8 of an inch? And you would be surprised how many people do not know that anymore. It's not being taught in schools and people just aren't learning it.
Nope.
And I'm hearing all this stuff, and it's, you know, whatever kind of test that's out there. Like before I started, I had to do a, you know, just a simple like Excel and Microsoft Word test.
It's at
Right.
the
To make
first
sure you're
big
proficient
line.
enough.
Yeah, that's what my wife says when we're doing projects at home. Well, it's 8 and the first line past 8.
After I worked for a baseball team, I got my first big sales job at a publishing company, an advertising company, and they had me take basically a test, an intelligence test, and you had to score a certain amount on that test to get a job there. Because at that point, unemployment was low. It was an easy.
Was it the Wonderlic?
It was basically the Wonderlic.
Yeah, I love the Wonderlic.
I had to take the Wonderlic, and I just couldn't think of the name, so I
Yeah.
said a test. And you had to score. Now, do you see companies that are still kind of doing that, or because it's such low unemployment that I need a body, just get me someone coming in, and then we'll see if we can work with them or not.
Depends on. I haven't seen any of the intelligence tests, but you know, different
Yeah.
skills tests. Yeah, I mean, depending on what
Sure.
you're actually trying to do.
You're going to be a CNC operator,
Right.
You got to have some
welders.
basic knowledge.
Welders have to know how to weld. Well,
Yeah.
you know, and so anyone like myself, anyone can say like, "Oh, I'm an expert at Microsoft Excel and Word," and you get there and you're like, "I don't know how to open this file." You know, it's a little bit different.
How do I carry the one?
Yeah.
So let's talk
What
about
does
So true.
formula mean?
Yeah, so
let's talk
true.
about you for a little bit. So you've been in sales
Yes.
for the majority of your career, whether it's a different company here or there. What's something that you learned along the way in sales that's kind of always stuck with you?
I stick by like a couple different things, and one of the things I always keep in the back of my mind is a quick no is better than a long maybe.
Okay.
I
I
like
think
that.
when you're early
Yeah.
in sales, you just want to have every opportunity possible. You're afraid of anything saying no,
Mm-hmm.
because that falls out of your pipeline.
Right.
But you realize, like, eventually, once you have that coming to Jesus with yourself professionally, you understand that those were all no's anyway. So
Right.
I'd rather talk to someone when they say maybe. Don't be afraid to ask those questions like, well, what's the holdup? What are you looking for? Like, oh, well, maybe in like 2 months or 3 months, we're having this come in. Well, great. Let's set up a time at then, and then we can talk further. I also like to kind of eliminate things out of the gate rather than take everything in. So what do you not want to do? What are you not looking to do? I want to make sure it's a good fit for me as well as for you, because otherwise I'm not doing my team a disservice or myself a disservice or you a disservice. It's just everybody's waste of time.
So you pre-qualify the conversation.
Absolutely.
I like
So I
that.
think that's a lot of issues that salespeople have is, again, if they have a quota attached to them, or they need to show a list of their activity.
Look
right?
how big my pipeline
that's
is.
my big pipeline.
Here's the one deal that's actually going to close.
Right.
right.
Right. Especially when
What happened? Oh, well, they didn't get back to me on
Well,
this.
see what had happened was
we're going to talk. They're on vacation. We're going to talk to them about a week and a half. Yeah.
I got to follow up with them in June.
Business owners, shout out if you've heard this before.
Right.
That's right.
But just know that qualifying people is an art form, because you got to know what's worth your time and what's not. And usually, if you don't value your time, people aren't going to value your time, which means people
Right.
aren't going to value you.
Mhm.
And so if you can kind of grasp the fact of, I can have a 2 or 3 minute conversation with someone and kind of get, I don't know if you're the same way, I can kind of get an idea if there's something there or not.
Right.
Right. And
even if not right now, maybe for the future. Like
Right.
there's not something there now, but I can look down the road and see like maybe there's something there, but it's not right now. I'll talk to you. Here's what you should find out in the meantime, and we'll chat.
Which is good for business owners as well, because sometimes
You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And business owners, I see all the time, who are great plumbers, but horrible salespeople, or great plumbers, but horrible at bookkeeping. And so maybe contacting an agency like Express would be good for them to be like, hey, I might need a salesperson, and I can just stick to what I'm good at, which is kind of the operation side of the things, actually doing the work. And I maybe I have to take that off my plate and find someone who is excelling at sales, because nothing happens in any business until something is actually sold.
Right.
And so we see people spend to death on things that are just wasting your time and money, because it's branding ideas, and branding ideas usually never work. It's great because it's an ego-driven purchase, because you want to see yourself in lights usually. But lead generation is what drives business activity.
Right.
And so finding the right people to put into place to say, I know I'm not good at this, or I've been told I could be better if I just had someone else do this for me, would be a great opportunity for you to propel your business in McHenry County, because there's a lot of good salespeople in this county that may be disenfranchised with where they're at now.
And it's funny you said that, and I thought in my brain how I told you that I like to disqualify as a way to qualify.
Right.
Maybe I need a salesperson in this, and I'm thinking like, whoa, before you hire someone on, do you know your numbers? Do you have enough coming in that can support a salesperson? How much do you anticipate the salesperson actually growing your business?
Right.
Is this the right move for you right now? Or do you need to, kind of like lean out your books a little bit more? Maybe hire a bookkeeper so you can get lean for 6 months and then a salesperson.
Right.
You know what I mean? Thinking like a business owner and trying to figure out like, is this the best move for you? Why is it the best move for you? I don't want to do this if this is going to like cripple you and they're going to be gone in 2 months anyway, and you're going to be out of business because you made a bad move and couldn't afford it.
So that's impressive. And that's the nice thing about working with you guys at Express. That's to the point that you've been talking about today is business owners. Hey, I'm busy getting that next deal, making sure that plumbing leak gets fixed and on to the next one. And I may not slow down enough to say, is this the right move for me? But what I see is, man, my calendar is swamped and I need somebody in here helping me out, which it may, yes, but it may be a bookkeeper rather than a salesman or another plumber.
Well,
Right.
I think most business owners who is maybe this is their first business, you make all your mistakes on your first business. Very few business owners are successful at the very first business that they do.
Yep.
It's usually the second, third, or fourth business that they really become successful at it, because they've made the mistakes along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But the first business owner, the first experience is usually knee-jerk reactions.
Yep.
It's
Right.
hand-to-mouth feeding, so it's transactional, and it's someone's pulling me this way. I'm going to listen to this person because that person told me this, and I have to listen to that person because they've done something before, or I just trust them. I met them at a chamber event. I met them at this. They seem successful. And we make a lot of knee-jerk reactions where you don't have someone to say, hey, let's take a step back. Let's think about this. That comes after you screw up so many times. But in today's climate, when you screw up with zeros attached to the numbers. And you have to focus as a business owner. If I'm starting a bookkeeping company, or I'm starting a closet decorating organizing company, or I'm doing anything nowadays, you have to think of, what are my mitigated risks? Where is my SWOT analysis? What are my strengths, my weaknesses, my opportunities, and threats? And usually your threats are yourself when you're just starting your business. Is how do I take
Lack of knowledge.
The lack of knowledge, correct. So how do you take those threats, the lack of knowledge away? It's by hiring people that can facilitate what you need to get done. The employment company, the operations company that can help you with your payroll, that can help you with your bookkeeping, that can help you with your accounting. Because by the way, you got to pay quarterly taxes, or are you paying, or is it maybe
estimated quarterly taxes?
Estimated quarterly taxes, or are you better as a W-2 employee so you don't have to deal with that? Like that's one of the mistakes that we made early on at our company, is that I didn't know the best way to pay myself. Is it a W-2 employee, or is it doing estimated quarterly payments? And so you kind of fumble along the way until you say, hey, there's a better process.
Maybe I should talk to
place.
an accountant to understand my structure and what works best for me. Here's what I do.
Right.
Yeah.
And usually because I can go on TurboTax for $29.99 and I can do TurboTax myself.
Cost versus value.
Cost versus value. And so we need to make sure that if we own a business or you're thinking about starting a business, you do the SWOT analysis of yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats or lack of knowledge? Then I recommend to people, I don't know if you'd be the same, is you bring it to your wife or you bring it to a family member. You say, candidly, can you give me my strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? And sometimes you're going to see things that you think is a strength that they might see as a weakness.
Right.
And because you have an unrealistic expectation of yourself. Like I'm talking to you right now. When I listen back to this, I'm going to have a higher voice on what I'm hearing than what I hear in my head.
Oh,
I think I have a low voice.
no, you do.
No.
You've
No,
got
I
a
don't.
very-
I have a
very
higher
girly
voice.
Take it from us. No, you
No,
don't.
I have a face for radio, but a voice for something completely different, right? So I have an unrealistic expectation of in my mind of how I sound. How do we do that in our business? What are our strengths? And that's what's great about an employment agency, is that you can come to them and be like, listen, I need to hire someone. I need a bookkeeper.
Yeah.
I need a financial planner. I need an accountant. I need a salesperson. I need a welder to do something. I need bodies. And that's what we need to have, because those are my weaknesses or opportunities. And most of all, maybe my threats or lack of knowledge.
Yep. Of course, we've got Hunter Turasky here. He's with Express Employment Professionals. For more information on Express Employment here in Crystal Lake, is just go to expresspros.com/Crystal Lake IL, or you can give him a call at 815-788-8556 or something.
Sounds about right.
I'm just trying to read, but it's great now. And now on the website too, if you're a job seeker, you're going to go to the job seeker piece. If you're an employer, if you own that business, you're looking, go ahead and hit that one. If you just want information, as Hunter and Alex are talking about, is this the right move for me? Is it the right time? What's happening? What is it that I really need? You can also just contact them right there, and somebody will reach out to you and get in touch with you.
So we talked about what we're good at with sales. What's something that you struggled with early on?
Early on, it had to be processes. And it
Okay.
was like one of the things I learned, because it's like everyone in their own profession is kind of like a small business owner. What are you
Right.
good at? What are you not good at? And, I kind of believe in that, that Chinese philosophy, like the yin and the yang symbol,
Yeah.
where it's like in every element has the exact opposite within it. So it's like you'll find your biggest strength. There's also what creates your biggest weakness as well. So I was always real good at working with people and communicating and getting involved with them. And in the end, it was like some of the details would slip through. So you have to come to a point where you realize, like, okay, this is a job, this is a profession, this is something I have to work at and get better at if I want to actually like grow and get better, and not just emphasize my strength. Here's what I'm good at. You have to find all those other areas that where you're weak.
So and that's when you find out that the yes isn't the end of the sale. That's the beginning of it.
Oh yeah.
Right. That's where it's like, okay, I got to go to work now. Right. And I think that's cool. And a lot of people, there's just a lot of salesmen out there, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Thanks for the money. Away we go. And that's what
We'll
you see.
figure it out after we get the sale.
Well, and that's why a lot of, auto sales people have bad reputations, because it was good. You got the car, next.
Do whatever they can to get that sale. And it's very transactional.
So it's interesting.
One of the things that was my weakness was I talk like a stream of consciousness. And so when I, right? I mean, you laugh because you know it's true.
It's
right?
true. Yeah.
And so I give you my candid opinion of what I think of you, what I think of your business, what I think of just life in general. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve, and sometimes it bites me in the ass.
Yeah.
Right. And so I had to learn that my cup of tea doesn't play well with people who like politics, people who like to play in the way of what I like to call the grin fuckers.
That's right.
Right? And we all know what one of those are. The people that smile to your face and just talk shit about you behind your back, right?
Hey, buddy.
And so I had to learn how to hopefully curb that down a little bit. But more importantly, maybe sometimes I need to step away and have someone else facilitate some of the things that they excel at, because I need to know my strengths, my weaknesses, my opportunities, and my threats. And sometimes my stream of consciousness could end up being a threat, right? And so that's what's great about working with someone like you, is that you can say, I mean, I'm sure that you've had very candid conversations with business owners.
Those are the fun ones,
right? I mean, the great thing about you, it's like a bookkeeper. A bookkeeper is a very intimate aspect of your business. Stephanie Conley was on here. That's one of the things that she says, is that you learn so much about a business and their life and their world mindset by talking about their business and their books and all that type of stuff. You are constantly dealing with their baby. Their business is their baby that will never grow up.
Yeah.
Your kids are going to grow up and move away, but your baby is always your business, and it's always going to be a baby. It's never going to really grow up until you close the doors or move out or sell it.
Yeah.
Right. And so those are probably very hard conversations that sometimes you have to say, is like, dude, you're an asshole. Right.
Well, I've never said that to anyone in a professional setting.
I know, but I'm like, I know you haven't, but I'm like,
we're stating that for the record, Your Honor.
Yeah. There's tough conversations that you have to have.
Internet's forever.
Right. There's tough conversations that you have to have with a business owner, because they might not see what they are trying to get out of it.
Yeah. Back to Stephanie's point earlier, where I've had a conversation with a business owner where, I said, okay, well, here's the position. What are you willing to pay for it? And, they told me, and I said, that's not going to work. That may have worked for you in the past, but at this rate and what we're seeing coming in the door and what people are requesting, you may get someone, we may get lucky and find someone and put them in there, but they're going to be gone within a couple of days. Now, you have a couple options. It makes you aware. It might be a tough thing to hear, but it's the reality in which we're living. You have to understand how that's going to work, how that's going to affect your business. And if one of your things is turnover and you're paying at, $9 an hour, well, I can probably point out where one of the key issues to your turnover is. So you explain that to them and understand it's like, okay, this is what it costs. So are you willing to spend that much to get X position, or would you be better off moving that into a different type of position where maybe you can, compensate for that?
Well, I mean, you talked about how you have people that are working for, $9 an hour, how it might not work anymore. The Illinois law is changing every year. Every year it's going to be $1 more per year until year 2025.
Yeah, that's when it hits $15 an hour, which then we'll be having conversation. Never mind.
So the idea behind that is, these business owners aren't prepared for all the legality aspects in just employing someone.
Right.
Like if you say that you're going to stick to, let's say you're at $10 an hour right now. Well, in 2 years, you're going to have to change that, whether you like it or not.
Oh, and by the way, that entry-level person that's now making $13, $14 an hour, do you think that welder's really happy because they're making $14 or $15 an hour right now?
Right.
There's a ripple effect that happens with
and
that as
employees
well,
talk to each other. Not supposed to, but they do.
Oh yeah.
I know how much you're getting paid, right? So as we're rolling into the last 6 minutes of the show here, there's a renewed energy about you, right? You're loving this position. I think you're really enjoying it. What is it about the position that just get your juices flowing?
It's exactly what I thought it was. Just going out there, meeting with different business owners and seeing cool stuff. I mean, work is a 4-letter word, but if you can't turn it into fun, then what's the point in doing it? So find what you love and find a way to work at
That's
it.
it.
So
That's
it's really cool. And now, I think my wife gets annoyed when we go driving. I'm like, oh, that company, what they doing this? I was just over there and they do that. And it's like she never wants to drive around McHenry
Yeah,
County.
and now, but the good news is, right now, when you're out at dinner, you get it all the time too. Somebody's going to stop by because they know you, and your kids are gonna be like, "Dad, you know everybody." That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
And
I always say I'm a celebrity. They're like, no, you're not. I'm like,
Yeah.
how else would they know me?
Yeah, why? There's no reason, right?
My
So
wife also hates it when I drive around town. I was like, oh, that's a good restaurant. It's like, well, you never took me there.
right? Yeah. Whoops. So I think that's awesome, and that's what you're going to find, and not just with Hunter, but at Express. Man, I've spent some time there. I've worked with them in the past. I've been to mixers. There's not a sour face there. Everybody there kind of digs what they do.
It's a really fun environment to be around.
Yeah.
And they like to party. I mean,
Yeah.
they like to
Didn't you
win.
have a mixer just like a month or so
Yeah,
ago?
huge
we had
mixer.
the summer soiree.
That's really good.
That it was like perfect weather out, and except
I
for
want a woman's haircut.
15 minutes
There
where
you
it
go.
poured.
Oh,
rain,
remember that just dumped.
and then all of a sudden it's just like everything's
The
done.
sunny
But
day.
everyone still had a great time.
It was a
they
great
loved it, and
But all the employees there. So I mean that speaks to the ownership of this Express employment, because
They're 19 in the nation.
right. But the people, you walk in there. First of all, it's a wonderful atmosphere at their in their office. But I've been there several times. I've been there on paydays. I've been there on when they're paying out the people who are the associates. I've been there in the middle of the week and at the beginning of the week, and it's always just a cool vibe in there. People just love working there.
it tends to get a little loud.
Yeah, I bet.
And it's just like I said, we love to win and we love to celebrate the wins. So
Yeah.
you'll hear, if you walk in the office, there's a good chance you could hear the cowbell going
Yeah,
because someone just did something.
Hey,
Nice.
and in the studio, if you hear the cut, never mind. That's a whole different game that we play here.
It's a Will Ferrell issue. That's why I have a drum set.
That's right. That's it. Yeah, and so I think that what we really want people to know and understand is Express employment is a relationship to help your business build, to help your business expand. You can lean
Protect your
on
business.
yeah, to protect your business. You can lean on them for some advice and guidance. If you think the time is ready, and I don't think a lot of businesses out there knew that. I think a lot of businesses are like, well, I need to hire somebody. Let's go to Express Employment. They didn't know that, wait a minute, you can kind of walk me through the thought process. You can really help my business and help me understand how to run a more successful business.
Keep in mind too, there's a lot of consulting companies out there. I don't
Yeah.
think this has any sort of
Yeah, no worries.
but we're consulting, it's like sometimes you'll get charged by the hour, like when you
Right.
show up,
Yeah.
you're getting charged right away.
Yeah.
With our company, anything, we'll sign you up the paperwork, we'll set up it just establishes the structure, but it doesn't even cost you a penny until someone's actually working for you.
Right.
And that's when it
pretty
costs.
cool.
That's
I mean,
that's
you think
it.
of
So
it-
everything before the conversations we
Mhm.
have and trying to figure stuff out, and we can even do a ton of recruiting, and maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe you don't find anyone. You interview 5 people that we send to you, and you don't like any of them. Well, that was free.
Well, you
That's
think of like an accountant or maybe even an attorney,
Yeah.
where if you call them, some of them have stopwatches where
Yeah,
call
right.
and how long are you on the phone with them? You're going to bill for that 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You're going to bill for that 8 minutes that you're on the phone with them.
Yeah.
And if you call all the time, you're just getting that bill. What's great about you is that
I see that in my
Nothing is-
paycheck through Prime Media. Every time I call in,
it's
it's like, hey, my check's so short. You talked to me for a half hour this week.
But the idea, what's cool about you guys is that you're there to help along the whole process, and you only get paid if they stay with you.
Yeah.
That's what's great is that you're trying to keep that relationship continuing, not just what's in it
Yep.
for me.
Yeah. Doesn't mean no good to bring in something that we can't fill.
No,
Bring me a position they can't fill.
that is awesome. So I tell you what, we are on the back end of this. We're about a minute out. I can't thank you enough for being here. I know
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I know we called you last second, but I appreciate you being here.
Appreciate you having me.
And that's Hunter. If you have questions about Express Employment Professionals, go ahead and reach out to Hunter, 815-788-8556, or check them out at expresspros.com/Crystal Lake IL, and you can get in touch with them.
Connect them on LinkedIn too, right?
Sure.
LinkedIn?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
not Facebook, to LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
LinkedIn's more professional.
LinkedIn. And I'm going to recommend this to all of our listeners. I'm going to recommend this to people that are out there. I want you to understand something. Give them a call. See what they do. See how they can help you out. I'm telling you, I've learned more today about Express Employment than I thought I knew, and I've worked with them in the past.
It's more than what you can at a mixer or a 5-minute conversation, shaking hands
Yeah.
at an event.
Yeah.
Right.
So good stuff. And appreciate it. Of course, as always, McHenry County BS brought to you through the financial support of Prime Media Consulting. You can check them out at primemediaconsulting.com or give them a call at
847-752-0018.
That's it. And with that, come back tomorrow at 3:30 for What's in Your Loaf, a great show, or jump on our website and check out all of our other shows because there's good stuff. That's it for us in this edition of McHenry County BS. Thanks, folks. Be good and be prosperous.
Thank you.